Hello, Exiles. This is Ryan from Behind Eyes Gaming, and welcome to another Path of Exile video. In this video, I'm going to go over my kind of final or kind of ending point, I guess, on my Holy Flame Totem Inquisitor. I might revisit it later because I do have a lot of upgrades to make, but at the moment, I'm kind of a little disappointed in where it landed. I do have 90 all-res, thanks to the melding of the flesh here, which gives -4 all maximum resist, then -70 to 80 all resist, or all elemental resist, but elemental resistances are capped by your highest maximum elemental resistance instead. I was actually able to very easily achieve that because of this really good relic that I'll be using on future characters for sure, +3 max fire res and 8% increased damage per endurance charge. I put Eldritch Battery on there so that I could replace my whatchamacallit here, Skin of the Lords with the Eldritch Battery, which unfortunately lost me the gem levels, so I did lose some damage there. But I have some interesting things, like I was playing around with Divine Blessing, with Zealotry, and I've been enjoying that by quite a bit. I've kind of gotten used to like these single button boosts. I played around with Focus on my Frostblade's Trickster quite a bit, and yeah, I kind of like that big old DPS boost. And with all of the aura effect from Divine Blessing and that we get from other sources, I was getting a lot more because I had a Timeless Jewel here that gave me aura effect here and here, but I had to move it for some more DPS as I made room for defenses. Other things I did is I have Eldritch Battery, as I showed, and Mind Over Matter, along with the, what do we call it here? Petrified Blood. I'm not entirely sure how that works, but I do have a decent amount of regen, not as much as I would like, unfortunately. I'd have considerably more, pre-nerf Inquisitor, but that was nerfed for a good reason. I'm just going to do a quick Strand Veritania to kind of show the character. I did just do a Shaper. I died twice limit testing what I could tank. With my flasks up, I have 19% physical taken as elemental in combination with my Watcher's Eye and a corrupt on my Rise of the Phoenix, which I'm running, which also helps me get to that 90 max res. So yeah, I end up with 90 all resist, but I could still, with my flasks up, I have about 30k armor, which just doesn't seem to be enough. But yeah, the damage in clear is all right. I had to drop some projectile speed, unfortunately, so the clear isn't, what it used to be type thing. And I'm definitely not instant killing. In fact, I lost probably 200 DPS or 200,000 DPS per totem trying to get my defenses sorted. So that's a big deal. I was clearing T16s a lot faster before. But I am pretty defensively sound. I still can't take huge physical hits, but I could get a much larger health pool here, just moving things around if I felt the need to do so. I have been focusing on Ritual. I also can't take 4 Molten Balls, even with 90 fire res, probably because my base HP pool is a little low. I'm not used to using traditional defenses. I've been using, non-traditional, although it's become more traditional, I suppose, over time. But yeah, I've been using non-traditional forms of defense in terms of just layers of mitigation, and I'm not used to just stacking resists and armor, I guess, and health, or effective health. So it's really weird. It's been a long time since I've done that. This is also the first build in ages I've played without spell suppression. So that's interesting as well. It's been a little bit of an educational experience. I'm currently wearing probably between 10 and 12 divines worth of gear, but I've spent well over 30 divines trying to various iterations of this build to try to get it going. So I've spent an enormous amount of currency on this project, and it kind of feels like a failure with everything I've put into it. Its clear is not that great. Its bossing is fine. Its defenses are good, but I mean, I've definitely played a lot better builds for much cheaper, and considering I'm, you know, leveraging all these interesting things. So you'll see I have a traditional wand here. It is 11.44% crit chance, and if you know how Sandstorm Visage works, you'll kind of understand why that's so powerful. That means I have 11.5% base crit chance basically for my spell, which well over doubles the base crit that is naturally on Holy Flame Totem. So that's really nice. I also am rocking 524% crit multi, which is not an enormous number. I could get much higher. I could get probably 600-700, but I mean, it's nothing to scoff at, really. I had maxed chaos resist. I have maxed chaos resist against damage over time, but I have 38 against non-damage over time, which can be a big problem altar farming, because there are things that give, like, yeah, I should be able to, oh nope, okay, I did want to test to see if I could just base tank the full hit of that. Maybe it has some sort of penetration. There are some builds that have penetration, and maybe once again my regen and life pool are just not high enough. So yeah, I can't just tank all the icicles on Veritania, unfortunately. Now I get to run back. Walk of shame. I don't think I have anything crazy either, is the worst part. Yeah, there's literally nothing super crazy about the map mods on this, and that still did so much damage to me. So that's a bit of a problem. My speed with my flasks down is quite low, as you can see. When my flasks are not active, I don't know why I'm picking up lesser things. I have like 400 lesser Eldritch. There's literally no reason. But yeah, this is good for, it's really solid for the actual league mechanic for Sanctum. Probably should have put a portal down here because I would have leapt through it regardless. Alright. Put the mark down, put flame wall, which is very important to DPS. Yeah. So little disappointing overall, sadly. But it was a fun experiment, and I'll explain. And I do have a lot of room for improvement. So I'll show the gear. The gear is okay. So this wand is actually perfect in the suffixes, and I can fix this. As you can see, I have a craftable prefix, so I can do suffixes cannot change. I have a tier 1 cast speed and tier 1 crit chance. These could be divined, of course. I could get over 11.5 crit chance, I believe, with a 38% crit chance roll. So that's really big, but I do have the quality increases critical strike chance per 4% quality with 28% quality. So I have an extra 7% crit there. So it would be like, you know, basically currently like 43% crit chance on the suffix, basically. So that's pretty huge. And Omen Wand, the reason I'm using an Omen Wand is because they have a base crit chance of 8, which is the highest base crit chance of any base in the game, I believe. So, and I happen to actually drop this fractured one with crit chance for spells. So I just, you know, spammed the essences. I believe I spammed deafening essences of loathing on it, if I recall. Yeah, 35 to 38, until I got cast speed, and I got lucky and hit tier 1 cast speed and a little bit of spell damage. But yeah, if I wanted to really like push this to the next level, I would craft suffixes cannot be changed, and I would probably do maybe fire reforge for the horticrafting station to try to either get +1 fire gems or the plus, or the like a tier 1 fire damage to spells type roll, and then, you know, craft whatever else is appropriate. But that could take a lot of divines to do. I didn't do it. I got a slightly better Sandstorm Visage. This one has a higher base energy shield, 62 out of 64, and a very high increased energy shield. Unfortunately, still only 9 cast speed. and no enchant. I didn't do any lab running really. This amulet I put Heartseeker on because I do get 100% crit chance when I hit Zealotry. So I do have 100% crit chance there. Very important. So I just got multi. I don't need the intelligence anymore. Rise of the Phoenix with 8% physical damage taken as elemental. I would like to have gotten a double corrupt with 2 8%, giving me 16 total. This is in combination with this Watcher's Eye, which gives me 10 life recovery rate while affected by vitality, and 11% physical damage from hits taken as cold. The element doesn't matter at all since they're all 90, so yeah, Fizz is cold. So that gives me 19 total. I could get up to 27, and actually I think this rolls up to 12%, so I could get up to 28 just from basically 2 items, physical taken as elemental. The reason why this is important is it actually makes our armor more effective. So currently with my Granite Flask up, and also increased armor on my Sulfur Flask. Currently with both of them up, I have 38k armor, which is not that impressive. You can get a lot more. Another way I could get more armor is you can get a level 23 determination. I only have a 20. I don't even have a 21. But you can get a level 23 determination as a corrupt on a shield. I did see an 8% fizz taken as elemental with determination 23. And it was relatively affordable, Rise of the Phoenix, but the guy was AFK and didn't answer me back. And I didn't try again. So a little bit unfortunate there. But this is kind of a mid regen roll as well. 144 can roll up to 200. So yeah, less than mid even, but you know, I took what I could get. I think it has a relatively high, actually it has a low armor and ES too. So yeah, this shield could use a lot of improvement. This is a pretty good ring. It has 100 life. I don't even have catalysts on it. I have 4 resist, and I probably should have went with life instead, honestly, because I don't need the resists. But 50 int, which gives me 50 crit chance, 100 life, cold, fire, and chaos resist, and then just crafted damage. And then this ring is pretty interesting. I needed the dex for Sniper's Mark. So 51 dex, which is quite a lot. 70 life once again. 2 completely wasted rolls and fizz damage to attacks and evasion. 38 fire res. And 15% damage recouped as life. So I believe Petrified Blood and Recouped as Life have a little bit of an anti-synergy, because I believe the deferred 40% of damage does not count as damage you take as from the hit. So you only get 60%. So the way I think this works, 40% of the damage from the hit goes to Mind Over Matter, and the remaining 60% goes to life with Eldritch Battery, Mind Over Matter. And then I believe the way that would work is out of that remaining 60%, 40% of that gets deferred. So 60% of the remaining, which is what, like 36% of the life actually counts as part of the hit. So that would only give me like 76% of the damage I take is actually recouped as life. So I think with all these mechanics, there might be like a little bit of an anti-synergy there, but it's still a little bit of extra regen. I'd prefer to actually have regular regen on this, but it's fine. And once again, no quality. Fertile Catalysts might be good on this as well, because it would affect the recoup. Yeah, that's life, so that'd be pretty cool. I probably want to play around with the recoup mechanic a little more, because I haven't experimented with it much. Here is my Brass Dome. I bought the base like probably 3-4 days ago for 5 divines, and then I linked it myself in like 70 fuses, so really lucky there. 5 all resist, kind of a middling armor roll and low percent armor roll, so I could get a lot more armor on this, but it was relatively cheap overall compared to like a really well-rolled 5% 6-link Brass Dome, which might cost like 14-15 divines, possibly more. I have no idea, maybe less. I didn't, but it would have cost considerably more than what I got for this. So that's that. Same gloves I've been using for a while now, no changes, no comments on that. Same belt that I ported over from my Trickster. I do have a higher base damage added Hypnotic Jewel that gives me, a lot of fire damage to spells while holding a shield and just generic. I believe it is tier 1 for, it's tier 4 generic fire damage to spells, so I could do a lot better. No life, no ES on this. Either one of those would help. I should probably get a better Hypnotic Eye Jewel. And these boots, which might be one of the more impressive parts of my build. So life, high armor, regen, high lightning resist, very, very high chaos resist, crafted move speed, unfortunately, not perfect rolled, and then of course double set up here. Now I have been trying to get +2 fire res, which is the 4th tier, the one beyond grand, but I haven't been successful. I've been using Orb of Conflict. I've been buying a lot of Orb of Conflicts to try to get this to go, and they're like 5 Orb of Conflicts per divine or something like that. And unfortunately I have not been successful in turning a grand +1 fire res to the one beyond that to get +2. And if I were to do that, it would save me 4 points because I could spec out a barbarism, and I would probably use those 3 points to get Champion of the Cause, which would improve my life pool by bringing me close to 50% reserved, because this, if you didn't know, Champion of the Cause is generic reservation efficiency of skills. These 2 nodes are the only generic reservation on the whole tree, and if I get both, I actually go over 50%, so I would only go up to Champion of the Cause, and then the final point would probably go towards this life energy shield. Getting melding would be huge because the percent life as max energy shield scaled with all the percent energy shield I have would be a considerable buff to my ES pool, which would increase my Mind Over Matter Eldritch Battery ES pool. So overall, kind of interesting. Now the sad thing about this build is I actually retooled this to not be a Holy Flame Totem build. At a certain point I was running Blazing Salvo, which also scales incredibly well with Sniper's Mark, because when you hit things, each projectile that hits it creates 4 more projectiles, which also hit the target. So crazy single target DPS. Felt a little bit clunky overall until you get like a really crazy amount of cast speed. But I respect out of the totems. I was using 12 at the time. Now I think I'm only using 4, 8, 9 totem specific nodes. Oh, and then these as well. I don't need the fire mastery. Plus I wouldn't need the 10% physical converted to fire. So being a totem build is causing me 12 points from the tree, or sorry, 13 points from the tree, because also Ancestral Bond, as well as one of my influence mods on my gloves. That's a lot. So just turning this into a generic spellcaster opens up that many points, which I can use for things like cluster jewels. Like I have these nice streamlined repeater, which is very, very good for a lot of like generic, for like something like Blazing Salvo. I also had an Ancestral Echo, Ancestral Reach medium cluster jewel. And I think, yeah, these are just more like crit chance clusters. But yeah, all those extra jewel slots could open up Champion of the Cause, could open up medium cluster jewels, could really push the damage a lot further. So the sad reality of it is trying to make Holy Flame Totem work. It is comfy, it's nice. You lay down your totems, you run around, you can kind of charge through things. It's a fun build, but overall, I'm not incredibly happy with it. I do think Holy Flame Totem, even with the Battle Mage adding a bunch of extra damage, I was getting a ton more damage, and I tried all sorts of bow setups. Like I do have this bow, I tried this physical bow, so 9.51 and 9.24 base crit, which required still a lot of into crit. I tried, just a generic stat stick quiver as well as rear guard. I tried all sorts of different setups, different Forbidden Flesh Flames, so I could get Pious Path and go down to Battle Mage. I also tried, additionally these other ones for Arcane Blessing, and nothing just seemed to feel like overwhelmingly good in this setup. This is, once you get rid of all the totem things, like I said, this is a really solid setup for just like a generic caster, especially considering all of my jewels are like fire, spell, let's see. Yeah, I have cast speed, crit multi with fire. So like something like a blazing salvo is really nice for these. Oh yeah, I'm also using grand spectrums. That's another important thing to note. I have the +1 minimum power charge grand spectrum, which was like 180C. The crit chance grand spectrum, which was literally like 20C, I think. And then the elemental resistance grand spectrum, which was like 30, 35, or maybe I have these two backwards, but very cheap grand spectrum setup really helps me, get these higher resistant levels to counteract the melding, as well as make up for the crit chance that is normally hard to get, because normally I'd get these like Annihilation, but no matter what people say about these being efficient nodes, they're not very efficient nodes. You only get 15% crit multi from these, so the crit chance isn't that great. Like Arcane Potency is a little better, but once again, you have to take a travel node to get there. The nodes that are very efficient, if you're already up here, and I was taking this before, for 1 point you get up here for Mental Rapidity and Shaman's Dominion. This is 60 crit multi here, which is huge, along with 80 crit chance for totems. And then of course you have 4, 4, and 10. Very efficient cast speed there as well. But I wanted to go jewel slots instead, because I did want to fit in the grand spectrums while also having a good amount of rare jewels. I ended up dropping some other good rare jewels, like I have this physical fire crit multi projectile damage one. I probably had some other like decent jewels that I was running before as well. But yeah. Oh, this one's probably my best one overall, with a nice, what is it, 32% crit multi, cast speed, and fire damage. I swear I had a better one at some point, like another good 4 property one, but maybe I did not. Oh, this one. This one is 33% crit multi and 9% cast speed. So really, really good jewel here. If I had more jewels like this, like if I didn't have so many 3 property ones, that would also be a big improvement. So yeah, overall, if I improve the weapon, get a better double corrupted Rise of the Phoenix, maybe get a little damage on my rings. Like I could get a better Hypnotic Eye jewel and get more 4 property jewels. I could definitely make Holy Flame Totem into like a decent build. I could maybe push like 1.5 to 2 million DPS per totem, but it's just, and that, by the way, when I say that DPS, because I am an Inquisitor who has 100% crit chance, that damage is the same against Pinnacle bosses, because their resistances don't matter at all, so it's kind of the same. So that's the nice thing, is with this build, if I'm doing 1.1 million damage per totem to regular mobs, I'm also doing that much to Pinnacle bosses as well, because they just have more resistances. They do not have like damage pen until you get, or damage resist until you get up to Ubers. So that's one of the nice things, is I kind of do the same amount of damage to everything, rares that have a bunch of extra resistance. So yeah, other things to note, I'm getting like 90 spell damage from Iron Will, which is why I'm pathed through here instead of like through here, which would technically be more point efficient, but once again, Iron Will, 90 spell damage for an extra, I think, 2 points to go through there. Seems worth it. I messed around with the pathing a lot. I've spent like 200 plus regret orbs. I could have just fixed it in POB and figured it out, but I didn't, because I didn't think of it at the time until after I'd already wasted an enormous amount of regrets. Divine Shield kind of helps me keep my energy shield up for regen on top of the regen I have. And yeah, overall, I don't know. Maybe I'll revisit this in the future. I'll probably retool it to a generic caster at some point, but I want to move on to other Sandstorm Visage. I am going to go back onto a Tripanon build. One of the reasons I brought this out is I wanted to see if I could take a very clearly kind of underpowered skill, which is Holy Flame Totem. Unfortunately, being one of my favorite skills of all time, still feels very weak, needs a buff. Its base damage is very bad. Even level 25, when I had level 25 by using the Skin of the Lords, it still was just pathetically weak base damage, even with its fast cast time. And even with like Battle Mage, the 35% damage effectiveness is not super good. Also, things like Magmatic Strikes and Herald of Ash don't scale well with it because it has low base damage. I suppose if you got enough just flat physical damage through Battle Mage, like if you had like a super high tier fizz damage bow, that you probably wouldn't be able to afford, like tier 1 fizz damage, basically tier 1 all of these fizz rolls with like super high, maybe you could get enough base damage with this kind of damage effectiveness to make the fizz's extra fire feel really nice. But I don't think so. And once again, you would be using like this kind of quiver with the double corrupt with the fizz's extra fire with that as well. You know, maybe then you would make it okay, and then you'd run like hatred instead of zealotry if you had that much fizz damage as well, because it doesn't matter what kind of elemental damage you do, because it's all gonna just penetrate. And then you'd scale, like instead of fire damage, you'd just scale generic elemental damage. So yeah, overall, little disappointing. Probably out of all of my weird pet projects I've had lately, this one is the one I'm saddest about. But yeah, if you just got rid of Holy Flame Totem and instead ran something like Blazing Salvo or Spark, or you know, any kind of already good skill, Spark especially, like you just get rid of the fire scaling, and like any of the jewels that say fire, you just get lightning, which I also already have for my other character. Yeah, if this was just a Spark Inquisitor, I could throw in a bunch of like, you know, good clusters, like more clusters like similar to this, and it'd be really nice. Yeah, and it'd just be better. So overall, kind of sad, but it was fun. Even if I wasted, you know, 30 something divines trying to make this work. You know, better luck next time. I have some other interesting ideas, and I'll switch this over. And almost none of the gear that I bought, maybe like 4 or 5 divines worth, is kind of actually wasted. The rest will just be recycled into future build ideas. Like there's no way I don't use this wand and this brass dome on future builds. So hope you enjoyed. This has been Ryan from Behind Eyes Gaming, and I will see you next time. Bye.